stage is ready, the audience waits for Shakespeare's new play, Romeo and Juliet. Actors leave their meals to take their parts. The musicians finish, and an actor enters to set the scene. Romeo and Juliet's families are bitter enemies. The young lovers are forbidden to see each other. The play begins and moves to the famous scene where Romeo goes secretly to see Juliet.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn, my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more? Or shall I speak of this?
'Tis but thy name that is thy enemy. Thou art thyself. Romeo, doff thy name, and for thy name, which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou, that thus bescreened in night, so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself because it is an enemy to thee.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, and yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo in a Montague?
Neither, fair maid, if either thee dislike.
Romeo and Juliet, two of the world's most famous lovers. We call that yearning ache for someone else, the soft caresses, the fierce embraces, the hot kisses, romance. Probably all of us equate love and romance, but actually, romantic love is only one of several emotions which make the term love something much larger and much more important than mere romance and sexual passion. Love is affection, and it is loyalty. It is altruism. But in its essence, it is a bond which in its many forms makes possible our personal lives. As we enter life, love binds us to our parents and them to us. Love ties us to our brothers and sisters, and later to our friends. And it's only when we enter adolescence that sexual love lashes us to the opposite sex. So love develops as we mature. Infancy, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, each has its loves. But to psychologists, love is to be studied as an emotion that draws us through life. The study of love is the study of emotional development. Our first love is for our mothers, or for whoever plays the role of mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, stepmother, and sometimes even father. But whoever plays mother, the relationship between mother and child forms the basis for all our subsequent loves. Ultimately, it even underlies our ability to cope with life. But how do you study love? Can science capture a feeling and watch it? Well, it's not easy, and it leads us into controversy. Used properly, the scientific method calls for strict testing, retesting, and testing again. As we can see in this film from the 1920s, experimentation can become unpleasant, at least to the subject. No matter how interesting it is for the experimenter, beyond a certain point, humans are inappropriate for strictly controlled studies. But there is a solution. Animals have affections too, and the higher mammals seem to have the same basic feelings that we enjoy. We can study them. And if elephants seem to love and cherish, consider the monkeys and apes. Mother chimps love baby chimps. Older chimps care for each other. Monkeys and apes have family ties. And like their human counterparts, they live in social groups, groups bound by primate affections. Beyond any doubt, the monkeys and apes share a fascinating similarity with us. At times, they seem absolutely human, with their big, sensitive eyes and tiny, dainty fingers. Their cries of distress strike pity in our hearts. And yet, monkeys and apes are clearly animals. So we can use them, and we must use them for scientific exploration. Experiments with primates have already given insights to affection, to monkey affection, and by careful consideration, insight to human affection. Harry and Margaret Harlow pioneered the work on primate love. For more than 20 years, they watched rhesus monkeys like these live, play, love, and fight in their laboratory, and chose to study the first stage of emotional development, the bond between mother and infant. Or rather, we should say between infant and artificial mother. By replacing the real mother with an ingenious device called a surrogate, the Harlows were able to pinpoint the qualities which attract an infant to a mother. The most important quality is texture. The favorite texture is terry cloth. A wire surrogate is no more appealing than a wire fence. After texture, other qualities come into play. Little monkeys choose a rocking motion over stillness. They like warmth as well, and totally reject coldness in their surrogates. But accepting or rejecting a surrogate is not a matter of simple preference. This infant is suffering a mental agony because the artificial mother doesn't satisfy her basic needs. The fact is, a good texture provides an essential quality called contact comfort. And cold, coarse surfaces like wire simply don't fulfill this need. The infant leaps for the cloth surrogate to find emotional nourishment, for contact comfort sustains her emotional growth in the same way that food nurtures her physical development. It's one of the Harlows' most startling findings that without good contact in infancy, a monkey will become a maladjusted adult. At birth, of course, physical contact means food, because infant monkeys normally touch nothing but their mothers. And always present as she is, her contact is consistent and reliable. It nurtures a feeling of trust, and trust leads to the first glimmerings of confidence. As the infant grows, she begins to explore the world of things, strange, inanimate things. But not so bad, is it? The birth of courage is not far off, and she will need true courage to face what life has in store. The world of things is static and predictable, but the living world, now that's a different story. And her comforting surrogate is there when she really feels threatened. This emotional bond will sustain her as she enters the second stage of love and emotional growth, the stage of peer love. She will now begin to form bonds with other young monkeys. And so, from the bond with mom comes the confidence to face others. Others who, secure in their moms, have developed a similar confidence. And a new generation takes its place in society. Ultimately, little monkeys and apes mature. They become adults who swing in perfect harmony with nature and with each other. Every move's a gesture of physical strength and social grace. But just as there are unfortunate humans, occasionally there are unfortunate monkeys. Unable to cope with society, they withdraw and become outcasts. Once again, the Harlow's work gives us insight. It turns out that certain pathologies can readily be induced by rearing a youngster in isolation. It is now clear that maturing in isolation, alone, with no social contacts, no play, no strife, no friends, no peers, this kind of isolation severely warps their personalities. The degree of harm depends on how long the infant has spent in isolation. After 3 months, they're antagonistic and withdrawn, but returning them to the company of others can eventually cure them. But when isolated for the first 6 months of their lives, young monkeys never recover. They huddle by themselves and rock back and forth hopelessly and endlessly withdrawn. No amount of social conditioning will ever restore them to normal. And after 12 months of isolation, an experiment the Harlows actually discontinued, young monkeys are so severely disturbed that they don't respond to others in any way, not even in self-defense. Now, at this point, we must face the question, what does research on monkeys really tell us? Actually, the question falls into 2 parts. First, what can we tell about normal behavior from animals caged in laboratories? A great deal, but only if we combine data from the laboratory with observations in the wild. Then we start to see the psychological structure beneath the smooth, seamless actions in nature. The second question is more to the point. What does the study of monkeys tell us about ourselves? Monkeys are far simpler than humans, and they lack almost all our intellect. Well, the fact is, monkeys and apes seem to have the same emotional structure that we have, so they react in similar ways to similar things. Understanding why they do is understanding more about our own reactions. Disturbed monkeys and disturbed humans can be strikingly similar. In this classic film, made in French fondling homes, we see infants and toddlers who suffered the same sort of deprivation as Harlow's monkeys. They were taken from their mothers. Fed and tended only on schedule, they lost the contact and affection a mother would give. And denied emotional nourishment, their emotional growth showed a typical pattern of arrest. At first, they wept inconsolably and often clung to whoever held them. The next stage was withdrawal. Taken from his mother and passed through 7 institutions in 7 months, this poor child has retreated deep into himself. and after 2 years in 6 fondling homes, this little girl had reached the point of physical and mental retardation. Games that would have fascinated a healthy 2-year-old hardly caught her attention. Her strength and coordination had stayed at a pre-walking level. But because of our work with monkeys, we now understand that human infants need love. It is simply indispensable. We also see how rearing methods around the world affect children in different ways. In cultures where mothers carry their infants continuously, children seem to form maternal bonds earlier than Western children. Psychologists call this enhanced bonding, and it seems to involve contact comfort. As we've seen, young primates need the comfort of contact not only to form bonds with their mothers, but also to emerge into the world of social interaction. Of course, if human infants need contact from birth, their senses must be operating in order for them to feel comforted. Research has indeed shown that an infant sees, hears, tastes, and feels from the moment of birth, and even the first few hours of awareness are important. At that point, the affections of a lifetime begin, as the infant gazes at its mother and revels in her features. Realizing the remarkable needs of the newborn, many doctors now support more natural childbirth procedures. They feel it's important to avoid the use of anesthesia, which affects the infant, and among other things, can lower its ability to nurse. Knowing the newborn's needs has also changed the care of premature infants. Doctors now encourage parents to handle these children as much as possible. So from watching monkeys, we have learned that affection through physical contact builds an emotional bond between an infant and its mother. And we know that an infant needs this tie in order for its body, its mind, and its social skills to develop. Monkeys have also shown us that children must interact with their peers for their emotions to grow properly. Given a good bond with its mother and healthy interaction with peers and friends, the child is on its way to a fulfilling life. Whether monkey or human, infants have a set of instinctive primal needs. But what about the mother? Does she have instinctive reactions too? Is there a mothering instinct? Once again, monkeys give us some insight. And surprisingly, many aspects of monkey motherhood are not instinctive. New mothers actually must learn how to handle and care for their firstborn. But even in the laboratory, female monkeys learn the skills of a mother. There must be some instinctive force, some urge, which concerns her with child care. Yet once again, her treatment during her own infancy can totally suppress these basic urges. The Harlows reared females in isolation, then artificially fertilized them when they came of age. When they bore offspring, they showed no inclination whatsoever to act like mothers. They seemed totally unaware that these tiny creatures needed milk and warmth and comforting. Some even killed their own young. But the encouraging finding is that even these negligent monkey mothers could learn. they developed mothering abilities with their second offspring. Those who did not kill their first infants seem to have been trained by these infants and became better mothers as time went on. Other psychologists found that when an abusive mother was surrounded by normal adult monkeys, her behavior changed. The other monkeys protected the infants, and slowly, acceptable mothering behavior emerged. In light of these findings, it appears that female monkeys do have a natural urge to comfort and nurture their young. However, in order to be expressed, these behaviors must be molded through childhood by contact with mother and interaction with peers. A normal childhood leads to successful motherhood. On the other hand, if humans have mothering instincts, it seems we don't always follow them. Across the country, mothers abuse children in horrifying numbers as the relentless stress of parenthood bears down on them.
She's driving me crazy, Jeff. I don't want to be here alone. I don't know what I might... Come on now, honey, please.
Any other wife would be jumping for joy over this contract. From you, I get medical bullets.
Please come home, Jeff.
Maybe I'll just stay here after all. Maybe there'll be somebody here who's interested in my work.
Fortunately, therapy can often help. It may include group discussions to reassure abusive parents, to make them realize that they are not alone in the problem and that they can help themselves. The therapy may also include physical contact. Here, a therapist tells her patient to hold her tightly, no matter how hard she struggles to break free. The patient's mother had rejected her in infancy. The patient now finds it difficult to cherish her own child.
Should have been cherished. Yeah. You should have been cherished. Your mother gave up on you. Keep holding me. Come on. Don't give up on me, Mom. Don't give up on me.
Now, undeniably, it is women who have always tended the children, and still do in cultures around the world. But if contact comfort is the critical factor for emotional growth, can't men provide it as well? Here, finally, is a problem that monkeys can't solve for us, because they live unenlightened lives. But to humans, life is conscious learning, and men are increasingly called upon to learn the tasks of mothering. It's too early yet to tell how well they're doing, but men and women have some interesting reactions to a father becoming a mother.
Oh, Damien, what did you do down there?
I don't think of her being with the baby as babysitting because that's what she's doing full time. But since I'm working all week long, when I do take care of the baby for an evening, I tend to think of that as babysitting as far as I'm concerned.
Sometimes, some guys just have weak stomachs and can't take a little spit up or, a super strong diaper. And, mothers have more practice, they're more qualified, and I agree with you.
And some men combine child care and a script conference without concern.
If there's a way we should end it quietly, then let's use the film. All right, the two of them are together. Now they're going to start upping the voltage, and people will get bored. Right? So
the crisis has happened, and so at this moment, Doug Rogan says, "Good night," and he leaves. He goes into the rain. He walks a few feet and puts out his umbrella, starts walking in the rain. It's pouring rain still, and suddenly Harry shot up.
It's impossible to know how far men and women will go toward sharing the tasks of nurturing their children, because it's impossible to know how closely we can share these duties. If we take the monkey data literally, we could assume that all a child needs is a big teddy with a nipple protruding from its breast. But few of us would want to wager our children on something so absurd. Undoubtedly, though, men can provide much of the contact comfort a child needs for emotional development. And that we all try to learn the job of providing contact comfort somehow seems right, the measure of a species which betters its lot by the application of learning. And yet emotions are the heart of us. Our entire life is a flowering of love. It grows from a mother, quickly swells to include a father, spreads open to embrace a world of friends, turns privately away to pluck a mate, and settles back to nurture its own children. And whether you know it as emotional development or as love, it is, in simple terms, life itself.